All right, in this video, we are going to create a queue. We're going to do a pre-service queue. So I'm going to turn my light off and get us started on this. Okay, for queues, you want to make sure that your group is highlighted here so that you're able to skip a lot of steps by operating out of groups. Again, these are all your stage fixtures. So this is your top row or back row up against the wall of the stage, over the choir, and this is the altar area. Okay, so I'm going to start with my Upstage Wash. So I'm going to select that group, and you can see it selects all the lights that are in that group. I'm going to go to Intensity, and I don't have to worry about this because I selected the group, so all the lights in that group are already selected. And I'm going to turn the intensity all the way up. So now you can see my Upstage Wash light is on. Now, don't worry about position because none of our lights are movables. On color, looks like this. And you have a color wheel where you can just drag your finger and it'll change. I'll show you what that looks like. So you can do it that way, or you can use one of these preset colors. The white default on these lights are more of a blue white. They're going to be a much colder white versus a warm white. If you're needing just a warm white, I would suggest going yellow, pull your red down a little bit, pull your green down a little bit, pull your blue up to about 50%, and then pull your white up all the way. You'll see on the color wheel, it's hard to see the cursor, but it's more yellow than white, and you can see that that is a warm white option. The default white, again, I'm going to push that button, you can tell it's a colder, more blue white. So just a tip on that. So let's build with this being magenta. We've used that quite a bit. So now you can see the upstage lights are magenta. So now I can move on to the next group. Now, if I do something that I don't like, all I have to do is hit that clear button and it'll clear out everything I've done and I get to start over. If you're 15 steps into it and you only don't like one little thing, if you hit that clear button, it'll erase all 15 steps you've done. So the clear button is just erases everything so you can start over. So go back to the home page. Now I want to deselect, otherwise whatever I do next is going to still affect those lights if I have them selected. So I'm going to move on to Backlight, go to Intensity, turn that up. Backlight is just those two lights that you see selected here, and they shine literally onto the backs of whoever is standing up there. On the backlights, don't worry about position, but you do want to worry about beam on this one. I will show you, I'll show you real quick. Isolate just these. Okay, with the backlights, you can see if I have the narrow beam on, they're going to be more spotlight looking. If you watch the space, I'm putting it on a wide. You notice the difference that it unfocuses the beam, so you have light in a larger space. So again, this is narrow, this is wide. The backlights, Upstage Wash, those lights do not do that. It's just the backlights, and it's the Offstage Wash as well. So it's going to be the Quad Z's are the ones that do those. So you can see here, that says Quad Z, Colorado 2 Quad Z. The Quad Z lights are the ones that you need to make sure you select the wide beam on. And you do that by hitting beam, and then you can see your options of narrow or wide. Narrow is more focused, like a spot. Wide gives light in a larger space, and it unfocuses it. So let's color these and make them blue. And what I like to do sometimes is, even if you hit the preset, you can kind of play around with the color a little bit, you know, add some red in, take some green out, and you can customize the color a little bit that way. All I'm doing now is I'm turning my Upstage lights back on, because I had turned those off to show you about the beam. Okay, so now we have built this. So that's Upstage and Backlight. So if I come back here, the next thing that I want to do is the Offstage Wash. So again, I need to deselect Backlight, make sure I just have Offstage Wash. Offstage Wash, these are Colorado Quad Z's as well. So they're a color light. For pre-service, for greeting, and for worship, I would suggest making these colored lights. For preaching, we want them to be a warm white so that if pastor walks off of the stage, he doesn't turn pink. So again, we're going to do a pre-service, so we're going to color these. So I've selected the group Offstage Wash. I'm going to turn them on. Again, you go to beam, because these are Quad Z's, and you want to widen. So remember, narrow is a spot, widen unfocuses, and you have color in a bigger space. And then we can go to our color, and we can make these the same blue, add a little bit of red, take away some green, just to customize a little bit. And that's something that you could just play with. And now you can see I have color on the floor. All right, now the next set of lights that can do color are the choir lights. If you're not spotlighting the choir, you can use the choir lights to add a little bit more color on your back wall. So I'll show you that. On the choir, select it. We want to turn them on. Don't turn the intensity very high at first, just about 20% or so. And you could see when they come on that they'll come on white. So if we change the color to magenta to kind of blend in with what we're doing, we don't want it to be obvious that you've got a giant, magenta circle there. So if you take the intensity down just a little bit, you can tell it becomes more of a glow. So this is with that completely off. If I turn it up to about 12% or so, it just adds more color glow on the wall. I go back home, deselect. Now I'm ready to turn my house lights on. Again, this is pre-service, so we don't need stage spots. If I turn my house lights on, this is Sunday morning, so I will need my cascade on. So I'm going to choose dimmers instead of the Sunday night setting with no cascade. So I select the group. I'm going to go over here to intensity. And turn them all on. Because it's pre-service, we'll want them at 100%. Okay, one thing to keep in mind is the brighter the house light is on stage, the less color you will have. So remember, these two up here are your stage lights. This one is pastor's chair, this one is the band. So I'm going to show you right now, it's at 100%. That's at 100%. If I turn that light off, you can see how much more color we have. So they do need a little bit of light over there during pre-service. So I usually set it at about 70% or so, just so there's a little bit of glow. And then the worship side honestly doesn't need as much light. So you can set it at about 65-ish or so, and it'll be fine. But you can see how much more color you can see. Again, if I turn the light all the way up, I lose a whole lot of color on my stage. So turning them down, I have more color visible. So this would be a pre-service setting. So let me show you how to save, just like you do with the group. Make sure you go back to your home page. Make sure everything's deselected. You're going to go over here to mode, and you're going to click Q. That way you make sure you're in queue. Make sure these are blue before you record, otherwise you're recording a group and none of your colors or intensities will be saved. So you click queue first just to make sure, and then you go up here to record. It turns red, and then I have an option to save it right here in this slot because these already have something here. So I can save it right here, and then this pops up. So I'm going to name it, and you can name it however you want to, but name it in a way that someone knows what slide to push for the part of the service. So I usually name them pre-service, and then you can put like a color with it. You can put, you know, magenta and blue if you want to, or you can put AM pre-service or however you want to do it. Rename, and then now this is an important step. After you've recorded and set everything, you want to clear everything out, okay? And then we saved it in slot 5. I will now bring up slot 5, and that's the queue that we just created. So that is how you set queues. In the next video, I'm going to walk you through some of pastors' preferences for greeting, worship, and preach.